Something real strange is going on in Oklahoma City, especially compared to their title efforts of last year. Starting out undefeated through 6 contests, many aspects looked up to the standards set in the previous campaign, but the outside shooting, well, it has been abysmal for OKC, 29th in that measurement league-wide as we speak, a.k.a. second to last in the league. We're going to go over all of these missed shots. Who is missing all these shots? Is this something we as fans should be worried about, big picture, comparing it to last year's playoff run and regular season? And lastly, 2 players who I think really need to step up in this department. Before we get into all of this in today's video, just want to say, what's going on, guys? Gabriel Ebersole here with Thunder Digest, where 68% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. Thunder right now have a 100% win rate. 100% of you guys watching, therefore, should be subscribed to the channel. It only makes sense to me. We're trying to hit 8K before All-Star break, so make sure you sub up to help us hit that goal. In return, me, Ryan, and Bryson got you guys with all Thunder news all the time, all in one place. But without any further ado, let's break down this shooting slump that OKC is going through to start off the regular season. You see in this far right-hand column, 29.6%, sub 30% for this team through the beginning of the season, and they are only above the New Orleans Pelicans, shooting a pitiful 27%. Ours also pitiful. This is unacceptable shooting from the outside from the Oklahoma City Thunder, but right now it is not translated to a single game falling into the L column. 2 of them took double overtime to escape, but nonetheless, we got the job done. Comeback against the Kings. Shai did hit a clutch step-back 3 in that moment, but big picture talk, this is not going to fly if the Thunder want to repeat as champions. Let's take a look farther at this. The problem here is that no one is really shooting good in particular. It's not like one person is dragging the percentage down. The entire team is cold. Taking a look at the top of the list, you got Brandon Carlson, who's made a 3 this year. Isaiah Joe is very, very hot. 55.6% on 9 attempts in the games that he's played in. And Chet Holmgren is also above the 40% mark, and he's just shown great flashes of growth altogether this season. I'm super, super excited with what he's shown, and excited to see him hopefully make another All-Star and have a career year. And then you see the drop to A.J. Mitchell, another guy, by the way, having a fantastic season. We already did a video on that. That was Ryan, so make sure you check that out. I'm going to link it up right here. And without that, you see A.J. Mitchell's three-point percentage still has fallen 5% from last year, and he's 4th on the team, making just a third of his three-pointers. Ladies and gentlemen, we only have 2 players because Carlson, let's be real, he's only attempted, I believe, 1. It might have been 2 threes this year. Granted, they went in. Fantastic. Not providing the volume to really affect that department. Isaiah Joe and Chet Holmgren are the only 2 players on the roster this year shooting even average from the three-point line at this rate. And I cannot stress enough how not good this is for the big picture of the Oklahoma City Thunder to have this many people cold, because then you go down the line, you see Aaron Wiggins at 32.5%, Cason Wallace 32%, Alex Caruso 28%, Shai 27%, Jay Will, 20.8%, a guy who was a three-point sniper last year, shooting right around that 40% mark. All of these guys are struggling badly to start the year, and this accumulates to a sub 30% from the three-point line. In a three-point shooting league, this is not going to cut it. I can't stress that enough, especially come the postseason, where it's harder to get to the rim. They aren't calling fouls as much. We know the deal. But for the Oklahoma City Thunder in this specific aspect, like we said, this hasn't translated to them losing any games yet, which is very impressive. Finishing out this list, you see that Chris Youngblood, a guy who was signed to that 2-way deal to make these three-pointers, who showed in the preseason and the summer league that he was clipping three-pointers right around 50% mark. He's struggling shooting 20%. Dort, a guy who was shooting over 40% last season, was lights out at home, right around 45% from home, struggling mightily at 18%. Isaiah Hartenstein still can't make a 3. I saw him airball one in the first game against the Rockets, and I almost shut the TV off. Shooting sub 30%, and no one on the team is playing particularly well. And this is almost time to hit the panic button for Oklahoma City, because this isn't new to the team. Last year in the regular season, they shot well, but the postseason run, they went mightily dry. We're going to get into all of that, but when you look at the regular season of last season, this was a good three-point shooting team, so that's why we have not yet pressed the panic button. Large sample size of last season, a lot of these players returning, and you see some very good three-point numbers up here. Isaiah Joe above 40%, Dort, like we just said, was above 40% last year, and then Jay Will was shooting right at 40%. Kenneth Williams was a valuable shooter. Wiggins was a good three-point shooter. A.J. Mitchell, a good three-point shooter. Chet Holmgren was knocking down the 3-ball. SGA took a step forward in shooting his threes last year, up in attempts and makes from the season before. And it was just a good all-around shooting year in the regular season for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They looked very complete as a team, strapping the three ball, and they were 6th in the league in three-point percentage last season. Now, when we take a look at another important aspect of this team last year, you continue to see more and more depth pour in. J-Dub was shooting 36.5%, a down year for him, by the way. He hasn't played yet this season, so no knocks on him, obviously. Cason Wallace was shooting 35.6%. Caruso only shot 35% in the regular season. One of the few people who picked it up in the playoffs. He shot above 40%, and then you see the rest filling in from there. Not the best of the three-point shooting, but still you see Ousmane Dieng and Brandon Carlson serviceable three-point shooters. So all across the board, OKC had a lot of weapons capable of knocking down the three ball last year. This was through the whole duration of the regular season. And when you take a look and compare last regular season to this regular season, there's a couple things that I really want to point out and really want to stress to you guys. Taking a look, they both say 25-26. Excuse me for that. The top one is the 2024 season. The bottom one is the 2025 season. My apologies. For 2024, this team shot 37.4% from three. They were 6th in the league. Points per game, they were above the 120 mark, 4th in the league at 120.5. They won 83% of their games, and they were 10th in the league at 38.8 three-point attempts per game. But as we know, ladies and gentlemen, the NBA is an offensive-driven league, a star-driven league. The NBA wants their players to put up points. It's better for marketing and all sorts of aspects of just pushing the game out to a widespread audience. More points equals more fans, more eyes on the game. So when you take a look at what they're doing this year, their points per game doesn't even drop a whole point. It's at 119.7, yet they are still 12th in the league. Mind you, this 119.7 mark comes with 2 games that went to double overtime. So I don't want you to think that this is like a tiny step back. This is a little bit of an inflated and misleading number at this point in the season because 1/3 of the sample size, 10 extra minutes in the game. 3-point attempts per game. We're still at 10th, but like we see an offensive and 3-point shooting league, we're above the 41% mark. And we're still 10th. Last year, only a few teams, I believe it was 4, shot over 43s a game. We're still above that mark, and we are still sitting in that 10th spot. So compared to the rest of the league, we're still taking around the same shot distribution on normal pace for growth for the 3 points of the league. However, the percentage, like we talk about, down to the sub-30 mark, down to 29.6, 29th in the league. Absolutely in the gutter for that. But like we talked about, the win percentage is at 100 right now. This team has not fallen yet. And that just speaks to the strength of it. They're top 5 in point differential. They're top 5 in rebounding this year. They still fill out the other areas of the court really well, but the shots are not falling. And we are familiar with this as fans because, well, last postseason was not the best for the team either. Taking a look at the postseason stats for the guys, not the best 3-point percentages on the team. Caruso, like we said, jumped above 40%, was one of the main reasons we won the finals. I gave so much shout out and props to him for being a championship player, and this was one of the reasons why. Isaiah Joe, over 40%, but was very streaky, and we saw that he's improved even more this year, shooting 9 attempts in the games that he's played in. Absolutely lights out. I think we need to advocate for him seeing more court time during this stretch as he's the only person with the hot hand almost on the entire team right now. We got Chet Holmgren, and that's really it. So we're continuing down this list, and you see that the numbers started to stagnate and drop off a little bit. You see Mitchell shooting 38.5%, Aaron Wiggins shooting a serviceable 36%, J-Dub shooting 36%, right around his regular season average. Lou Dort dropped in the playoffs from above 40% down to 34%, had a couple really bad, really suspect shooting games, and we've seen that carry over into this season. It was very streaky. Cason Wallace in the playoffs last year shot 32.3%, and Jay Will dropped to 30% flat, as did Chet and Shai were both under that 30% mark. So we were showing signs of slowing down and getting cold in the three-point department in the playoffs of last season. This was flat, like there was foreshadowing for this to happen in this season, and with carrying over a very similar roster from last season, we heard the unfortunate news about Topic, by the way. I want to speak my thoughts and prayers up to him, wishing him the best recovery, speedy recovery, all the best to him. Get healthy first, basketball second. Nonetheless, he didn't come back. Sorber isn't playing. So we have much of the same team that was here last year, and these signs were showing. So not something that got addressed. A gamble Sam Presti took. Chris Youngblood was the guy who's really, I see, the biggest piece we added to address that, and he's been cold as well. So a lot of question marks that OKC is going to have to fill in and answer come this rest of the season up to the All-Star break, and then in the playoffs, they're going to have to answer these questions again. Even if they shoot better, was it just the regular season thing? Once again, in the playoffs last year, we shot 33.8% from three, which was second to last out of the 16 qualifying playoff teams, and we have somehow went down from there again. Kind of alarming stuff, but we're not pushing the panic button yet as fans, because we got two players who need to step it up. One, Isaiah Joe needs to get some more court time. Not step it up in what he's been doing shooting the ball, because he has been fantastic shooting the ball. Over 55%. Fantastic. 9 attempts in the games he's played. Fantastic. Means to me, he needs to see more court time. He's filling a need on this team that no one else is able to fill right now. Get Isaiah Joe on the court more. Second player who needs to step it up, Dort. You are the 3-and-D guy. You are the guy that, in the starting lineup especially, is receiving the least amount of attention whenever Shai has the ball, whenever Chet has the ball, whenever the main guys have the ball. This is where the help defense is coming from. You need to hit these shots for OKC to be at their peak, at their best team that they are. You were a streaky shooter last year. You were a much better shooter at home. That's been a thing, and that's fine. But when it comes to it, you cannot be shooting 18%. Sub 20% is not going to cut it for this team. It's not going to fly. And if that continues to happen, well, Cason Wallace is probably going to end up taking a lot of his minutes, maybe even the starting role if he continues to slump like this. Let me know what you guys think between the Dort and Cason Wallace thing. Cason Wallace has had a very strong start to the season. Such a defensive beast that guy is. But nonetheless, this is the areas that OKC needs to improve in, is their three-point shooting. Undefeated so far through the season. Very blessed to be there, winning those 2 double overtime games, that comeback victory over the Kings. But how do we continue to do this to improve? And this is the biggest area, biggest weakness we have right now, and this needs to be improved upon. This has been Gabriel Ebersole with Thunder Digest. 6-0 right now, baby. Make sure you sub up so you can stay up to date with all things Thunder basketball, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.